પ્રવીણભાઈ યોગેશભાઈ આવે છે 2 મિનિટ.
હા બિંદુ દીદી ઓમ શાંતિ.
ઓમ શાંતિ. યોગેશભાઈ આવે છે 2 મિનિટમાં.
હા એકચ્યુઅલી જોઈન થઈ ગયા છે, એમનો વિડિયો દેખાય છે.
દેખાય છે યોગેશભાઈનો?
યસ યસ યોગેશભાઈ વેવ કરે છે.
ઓકે. કિન્નરી.
યસ બિંદુબેન.
હા યોગેશભાઈ એ ઓન કર્યો છે, દેખાય તને?
હા યોગેશભાઈ દેખાય છે બિંદુબેન, તમે પણ દેખાવ છો, પ્રવીણભાઈ પણ દેખાય છે.
ઓકે યોગેશભાઈ. ઓકે સો સ્ટાર્ટ કરે યોગેશભાઈ. ઓમ શાંતિ.
जी ओम शांति।
जी योगेशभाई ओम शांति।
जी सुनाई दे रहा है?
यस ठंडी है। ओके
जी
प्रवीण भाई हम स्टार्ट करें?
हाँ जी
इंग्लिश में इंट्रोडक्शन.
या okay. Thank you Didi, thank you Yogesh bhai for making time today to be with us. Om Shanti to everybody. Welcome to this session. It's a great pleasure for us to have brother Yogesh Sharda with us today in this webinar. We were just discussing offline that today is also the Earth Day. And because of that, the topic that brother Yogesh will be presenting today, using things in a very worthwhile manner, I think it's a very apt topic coming today, where given the current times, we are expected to, or we have the responsibility of taking good care of the resources of the earth. Brother Yogesh, I think many of us know, he's a very experienced presenter representing the Brahma Kumaris. We are very proud that he is representing the Brahma Kumaris in several world forums today. For more than 30 years, he's been in knowledge. 25 years out of that, he's been also training from a personality development perspective, bringing in the knowledge which has been developed within the Brahma Kumaris, in the Academy for a Better World, which we also call as Gyan Sarovar, and also from the Oxford Retreat Center in the UK. So he assimilates a lot of this knowledge and brings it to us in a very meaningful manner. We have been privileged to have him in Hong Kong last time over a 3 days retreat, wonderfully done in Macau. We have all seen him in action, his practical manner of introducing spiritual knowledge and helping us in develop personalities, not only at a personal level, also at corporations, with several corporations worldwide, examples of Microsoft, IBM, many other large organizations. He's been doing these sessions in those organizations for organizational value development. So without holding him back much, I'm just giving it back to Bindu Bain if she would like to add some things, and then on to brother Yogesh's session. Aji Bindu Bain.
Yes, Om Shanti. Everyone all welcome, and now listen Yogesh bhai. Yogesh bhai.
Om Shanti, and hello to everyone. Thank you, Bindu Ben, for this chance to meet once again with my lovely family in Hong Kong. I have very, very lovely memories of being there. It was around almost this time of year, almost 1 year. And I remember all your wonderful faces and your warm hospitality, love and friendship. So thank you for the chance to meet you in this way. And also Praveen Bhai, thank you for your warm and generous introduction. So when I was discussing with Binduben a few days ago about what topic should we take up for our discussion this evening, so this thought came to mind about how to use everything in a worthwhile way. And then I started to churn that what to say, how to share some ideas about this topic. And one thing came to mind was that in a spiritual life, in our spiritual life, it's not just about sitting and meditating in a forest or in a cave somewhere and reaching some kind of higher state of consciousness. But a big part of our spiritual life is also service, serving others, serving nature, serving the animal world, serving the whole of life in this dimension. And that means, of course, that we have to be very practical. And so in this life also we meet, we travel, we plan, we get together. There's a lot of doing. And to be effective in doing anything, of course, requires more skills than simply what you may call as the spiritual skills of being peaceful or being joyful. It also means being very practical.
Sorry योगेश भाई,
जी,
थोड़ा वॉल्यूम आप वहां से करोगे इंक्रीज?
increase volume.
हाँ हाँ
Is it better? ठीक है अभी?
जी जी.
I can
Yes.
hold the microphone.
Sorry.
It's okay. Is it okay for everyone?
Everyone okay?
Yes.
Hong Kong निवासी?
Okay, okay.
Yes, it's okay.
Okay.
I
Okay.
was just mentioning how, for us Brahmins, using all our resources in a worthwhile way is really part of our training in how to become a deity soul. Deities are deities because they have imbibed all qualifications. And so in this Brahmin life, of course, it's a training to develop those qualifications. And so it means that we have to understand how to be balanced, understand our values, understand what our priorities are. So for about the next hour or so, I'll just share a few ideas about what this means to me, using everything in a worthwhile way. And within that also you may have some questions and comments too. So I was thinking of which examples have been important for me in trying to learn this, how to use everything in a worthwhile way. And there are many, but the main one which came to my mind was our Dadi, who recently became Avyak, our Dadi Janki. Because I've had a lot of time with her and many experiences with her. And two little examples came to mind. I remember once I was with her, this is going back maybe 30 years, and she used to live in a little house called Baba Bhavan in London. And so I was there meeting with her, and then it was time for her to go for a walk. And this must have been around 5 o'clock in the evening. And she just went for a 10-minute walk along the street. And she asked me, "Do you want to come?" So I went with her. So just the two of us were walking just in the streets. And she was saying that she does this walk for exercise, but also she was saying that those who see us, the public who see us in the street, should also feel that these are angels walking. She was saying, Seva bhi honi chahiye, which means even at this time, going for a walk, there should be multiple benefit. So on the one hand, there should be exercise for the body, and that's important. At the same time, we can be doing spiritual service if we're really soul conscious and walking in Baba's remembrance. So the public who sees us or people who go past us, they should feel something. They should feel as though angels are walking. And so I saw that, her intellect was functioning on many different levels. And she had this art of really squeezing the maximum benefit out of every situation. And I felt this is really one of the qualities of an emperor, how to maximize the benefit for everyone from everything, from time, from energy, from resources. And so that stuck in my mind that whatever you're doing, think of what other benefits are possible through this. And that's what it means to use something in a worthwhile way. And then one more example I'll share of her. I remember once we were in the retreat center in Oxford. And for those who've been there, you will know there is a large room, which is called the conference room. It's the biggest room in the house. And it must have been around 11 o'clock in the day. And she was giving a class to us, and it must have been 70, 80 teachers from the UK. We were all sitting listening. And again, this was maybe 1995, 96, so that time nobody was really using internet or mobile phones. And so in the next room, there was a call for her. And Dadi Prakashmani was telephoning from Madhuban to speak to her. And so the brother came in the room and said, Dadi Prakashmani is calling from Madhuban, will you take the call? And so, of course, Dadi Janki, immediately she got off the stage and she went into the next room to take the call. And, the lines were not so clear, so she had to shout a little bit to be heard by Dadiji. And so we could hear the conversation. We could hear what Dadi Janki was saying. And so one of the brothers, he just went and he closed the door, to give Dadi some privacy. And then about 5 minutes later, then she came out again and she came back on the stage. And the first thing she said was, Darwaza kyun band kiya? Which means, why did you close the door? And what was in her mind was that as well as her having her conversation with Dadi Prakashmani, she wanted us also to see and feel how Dadis speak with each other. So like her mind, like a computer, was thinking, let them also benefit to see what is the way to speak, how Dadis communicate with each other. And so again, it was like opening my intellect to see, she's always aware that I may be able to see only one level of benefit in something, but she can see 10 other levels as well. And so she knows how to spread the maximum value from any situation. And of course, she has learnt that by observing Brahma Baba and Mamma. And these are the sanskars, the qualities of the Maharajas. Maharaja souls will do this such that each person is benefit to the maximum. And so my feeling was that when we talk about using everything in a worthwhile way, it means my buddhi should be so stable and so clear that I can see the value of something which may not be visible even today. And so the main spiritual qualification for that, I believe, is this state of being yog yukt. If I am yog yukt, if my intellect is stable, really connected with Baba, then I will naturally be yukti yukt. The right yukti will come into my mind. I will know which is the absolute best way to do a particular thing or to deal with a particular personality. And if I am in a yukti yukt stage, then you become safalta yukt, means you are using everything in a worthwhile way. One more example coming to mind. I remember once when I was leaving from Madhuban, so I was taking leave from Dadi Janki, and again, this is maybe 92, 93. And I had been living in Baba's center in Oxford for maybe 2 years that time. And so when Dadi asked me, she said, is there anything you want to ask or say? And I said to her that sometimes I find, my intellect thinks too much. And she said, what kind of things? I said, for example, if there is some service program or there is a visitor or a guest coming, I think so much about everything. Shopping has to be done, cooking has to be done, transportation has to be done, accommodation. And sometimes the intellect gets tired thinking so much. And she said, there's no need to think so much, but the main thing you should focus on is to be yog yukt. She said, if you are yog yukt, then your intellect will naturally think of the right thing at the right time. And this was really like an eye-opener or a game changer. That what is a yogi life? A yogi life means behind everything we do it in a state of yoga. Why are we called Raj Yogis? Although we do many things, we have Gyan, we have Seva, we have meetings, but why we are called Raj Yogis, it means that all the things we do, and there is a lot of doing, but it should be done in a state of yoga. And therefore, we are able to do it accurately, meaningfully, and correctly, with the minimum of waste. And so these are examples coming to mind of how Dadi has been able to achieve so much. Why? Because she has minimized the waste in her mind. She finished the waste. And that's an ongoing study for all of us, to be soul conscious and to be in Baba's remembrance, and then to do. Once we asked her, again, it was a UK teachers meeting, and there was like a panel discussion going on about keeping the balance between remembrance and service, yad or seva ka balance. And I think 3 or 4 people were sharing their experiences. And then finally, Dadi came on the stage, and same question was asked to her, that how do you keep the balance of yad and seva? And she said, my balance is 90% yad, 10% seva. And we thought, wow, what does that mean? And she was saying, if I think only about administration all the time, then I would get tired. But my focus is on keeping Baba in my intellect, keeping that focus, attention on that, and then the seva flows from that. And in the ordinary language, we can say, first it's about being, then it's about doing. If the being part is not given proper attention, means if my consciousness is not correct, then I will do a lot, but also I will produce lots of waste. And this reminds me of this formula, which I think also we discussed when I was with you last year, the result of something is equal to two things. The result of something is equal to the effort that you make, but divided by the waste that you also produce. Result equals the effort divided by the waste. So if I want to increase my result in anything, it's not only about making more efforts. Yes, that's good to make more efforts, but at the same time, I have to reduce the waste I'm also producing. You can apply that formula to a machine, but also you can apply it to the self as well. And in particular, each one of us has 5 main resources, and we have to learn to apply this formula and use everything in a worthwhile way in these 5 main resources. And so what are they? So number 1 is, of course, your mind. And so we have to check the number of thoughts I choose to spend on a particular situation. The number of thoughts I'm choosing to use to think about something. And Baba is inspiring us to be more essenseful with our thoughts and also essenseful with our words. And usually it's easier to control the words than to control the thoughts. And so maybe one thing to check, the words that I speak, can I be more essenseful in my speaking? So before I say something to someone, is it clear to me what I want to say? And can I be focused and precise with my words so I don't have to repeat myself? I don't have to go into long stories. And let me speak in such a way that the other person understands first time. This is all part of respecting and using my verbal energy in a worthwhile way. If you say a good thing, but at the wrong time, it's also waste. So a good thing has to be spoken at the right time, in the right place, in the right amount, to the right person. And then, of course, it's meaningful. And as you know in Hindi, for great souls, it is said they don't speak words, but they speak Mahavakya, great words which are filled with significance and meaning. And so these are our first 2 resources. One is how I use my mind's energy. And 2 is how I use the body, my physical energy. And my words are part of the physical energy. Baba has told us that even the body is a great instrument through which you can do great actions, you can do great seva. And he says, if your body is healthy, if your body is well, then of course you have more chance to do different kinds of seva. And so we should have this aim. Why? To keep the body healthy, so I can do great karmas through this body. And those souls, of course, do that. They who engage themselves even in karamna seva, physical service. At the same time, they are also accumulating their own fortune for many, many future lives. And so it's like, there should be this eagerness or this attention that I have a mind, I have a body. Am I just using it for myself? Or am I maximizing the benefits so that many others also are uplifted through that? Then third resource we have is our physical wealth. As you know in Hindi, these 3 words rhyme, tan, man, dhan. So what is physical wealth? It's also an energy. And so that too, we have to use wisely. We have to use sensibly. Baba has given us the formula for all of these things, but including physical wealth. On the one hand, be economical. On the other hand, be generous. Have an economic mind, but also have a generous heart. If a person is only economical, then they can become a bit of a miser. In English, we use the word a bit stingy, watching the pennies all the time. If a person is only generous-hearted, then of course you can be very wasteful, and then everything is thrown away. But the balance of the two. And one of the things that is required to keep this balance is to be able to plan properly. There is this saying we use even in the corporate world: if you fail to plan, it means you plan to fail. And so to think, okay, I have this much, these are my resources in terms of physical wealth, how to best use this? How can it be best used? In which way can it be best used? Knowing, of course, that whatever I use for Baba's seva, it's going to be used for many, many souls. And also karmically, whatever I use will ultimately come back to me for life after life. And I remember, another thing Dadi always used to tell us, a very practical thing. She would say, where there is proper planning, then things will work out well. So whatever you do, whether it's, whether we were doing a public program, or whether we are organizing some travel, or whether we were, maybe buying property for a center, whatever it was, do some proper planning, she would say. And where there's proper planning, proper organizing, then there'll be the maximum benefit. And so wealth also is a great resource. And the fourth resource we have to use well is time. Now, in the Iron Age, they use this phrase about killing time. They say, I have 2 hours to kill. What should I do? Time is, of course, not something to be killed. Time is to be used. Time is a tremendous resource. And we know that time which is wasted will not come back to me again. So again, I have seen in the seniors, I've seen in Dadi, if she has even half an hour free, she would find something to do. If she had an evening where there was no public program, no meetings with any guests, she would call the people around her, come, let's get together. Let's have a chit chat. Let's discuss Gyan. And so it's like there was this very natural awareness that why to let this evening go by doing nothing or by doing something needless? How can there be benefit for me and benefit for others as well in these 2 hours? And so again, it means, one has to be proactive. Everyone still hear me okay? Yeah? Okay, I carry on.
Yes.
So, and especially I think for all of us in these days where many of us are in lockdown, we have more time on our hands than before, maybe due to less traveling, less going out for our usual duties. And so what to do with that time? Now, in the Lokik world, they give suggestions of how to use your time. They say, watch this or do little puzzles at home. But for us, it's not just a question of passing time, but let me think, okay, today I have 24 hours in front of me. So how should I plan my time today? What should I get done today? And that means also, like making lists, writing down what to do today. Baba has told us that make a plan not only for your physical activity, but also make a plan for your intellect, what you want to churn today, what do you want to think about today, which point you want to explore today, or which stage maybe you want to experiment within yoga. And so all these very practical suggestions have come from Baba himself, which encourages us to be more organized in the way that we use our time. And if I respect time in this way, by using it well, then karmically, time will also respect me. Generally, what I have found, when people say, I never have any time for myself. I'm so busy, I don't have time for myself. But the reality I have seen is that if a person wastes time when he has time, then when he needs time, he will not have any time. Karmically, if I waste something when I have it, then when I really need it, I will not have. And this applies to time and also to physical wealth. If you use something sensibly, respectfully, honestly, sincerely, then when you need something, it will come to you. It's a simple mathematics, simple law of karma. And as you may have heard Brahma Baba's stories, Baba was always giving this mantra: whatever you want to do, do it now. Abhi karo. Don't think about tomorrow. And so this then asks us also the question that, okay, what's really important to me? What are the things which are important to me? Have I really identified them for myself? And so let me do this. Let me use a little diagram to help to explain something. If I draw on here, can you see? I'm going to hold this up like that. So here is an example that we use with regard to understanding priorities. So let's say you have a container, and in this container you want to put some sand, you want to put some granite, you want to put some rocks, and you want to put some pebbles, and you want to put water. So how would you do it? If you want to put all of these things inside this container, how would you do it? There has to be a method of how you will start. Which thing comes first, which things come second. If you put everything in at the same time, then it's not going to work. Or if you may put the sand in first, and then you try and put the rocks in and the water in, then you may say, well, there isn't enough space to put everything. But you need a strategy. And so the strategy is, first, you have to put the big rocks in. Get those big rocks in there first. Once they're in, then you put the pebbles, and the pebbles will fit inside the holes. Once you've done that, then you put your granite. The granite will fit inside these little holes. Once you've done that, then you put your sand in there. The sand will go inside even the smaller holes. And once you've done that, then you fill the whole thing with water. The water, of course, will go everywhere, wherever there's a gap. In other words, there is a methodology, there is a yukti, there is a strategy, there is an order of things. If you put the big rocks in first, then there will be space for the other things as well. And so the question then arises for each person, what are the big rocks in my life? And I have to put those in my day, first of all. And before that, I have to identify what are the big rocks for me. And for us, as yogis, the most important thing is Gyan and yoga. Yeah. We need our morning meditation. We need our morning murli. And if I've made that decision that these are the big rocks for me, then everything else will find its place. All the other duties and responsibilities we have. And that really asks us, to sit and think very deeply that what are the priorities in my life at this moment? How do I want to use my thoughts, my time, my energy? In which direction do I want it to go? Now, I would suggest that what's important here is to listen to 4 voices. And it's in the context of this that we choose to live our lives. Why we make the decisions we do with regard to lifestyle, I would say there's 4 voices, certainly in my own experience. The first of these is to listen to the voice of time, the call of time, and to ask myself that what is time now telling me to do? And you have to really sit and deeply just listen to that. For example, even in Lokik life, as a person is growing up, when a person is child or adolescent, and then mature, and then middle-aged, then old age, as time moves on, it's like, your behavior should change as time moves on. When you're in your early 20s or late teens, you want to prove yourself to everyone. You have a very competitive streak. But as you get older, you feel this is not right anymore. This is not the correct behavior anymore. I shouldn't behave like this anymore. You're not looking for identity. So even in Lokik life, there are stages according to the time of your life. So too for us, in terms of the world cycle, where am I? I have been through Golden Age, Silver Age. I have experienced heaven on earth. I have passed through the Copper Age, a stage of searching. I have been through the Iron Age and done all the things of the Iron Age. And so as a soul, what is the cycle telling me now? What is time telling me now? And of course, for us, if we really listen to the message of the cycle, we know it's time to clear my karmic accounts. We know it's time to go home. But also we know that after going home, we have to come down again into Golden Age. So it's also time to do lots of service, lots of elevated karmas to create a future, to create the fortune for the next cycle. So sit and look at the cycle and just ask the self, what is the cycle telling me? What should be my priorities at this point? Second thing I would say is to listen to the call of the state of the world. What is the world telling me? And Of course, in these days, it's more easy to answer that question with this COVID-19 situation. When we see there is so much suffering in the world, how do I want to live? How do I want to live a life where I'm, just chasing after my own desires? Or am I living a meaningful life where I am really of use? I'm becoming serviceable to many, many other souls. And I say this because this was my own process, when I was in my late teens, early 20s, when I would hear about the suffering in the world, it just used to have this feeling of vairag in my mind that, I can't feel I have a meaningful life if I'm living just for myself. What about the rest of humanity? And also, the animal world and nature. And so sit and think, what is the call of the world? According to the state of the world, what should be my life? How should I live? So that was a second voice to listen to. And the third one was to listen to the call of your inner voice. Sitting and listening to the self. What is my inner voice telling me? Meri Atma ki आवाज क्या है? What is my inner call? What is important for me? What do I want to do now? How do I want to live? And what helps with this is, like especially in the morning time, maybe after the Amrit Vela, really sitting with a pen and a paper, asking the question to the self, seeing what's coming out. Because at that time, your intellect is more clear, subconscious is working, and making that decision from inside. And then the fourth thing is the call of Baba, Paramatma. What is God now asking me to do? And he makes it very clear in the Murlis. What's the best thing for us to do? You see how Brahma Baba made his decision so quickly. Because Shiv Baba gave him a shock treatment. He showed him the end of Kali Yuga. And we know the scenes were so horrible that Brahma Baba himself, he said, I cannot bear to see this anymore. And then Shiv Baba showed him a scene of Satyuga, of paradise. And so the message was clear. This is going to collapse and this is going to come. So now, what do you want to do? And so, Baba had these very powerful visions, and he needed that for him, to realize who he was, to understand his role, and how he wanted to spend the rest of his life. And remember, he was already about 60 at that time. And so, same principle applies to us. Listening to these voices and reminding myself regularly why I am doing what I am doing. It's one thing to have an aim in your life, but it's another thing to keep that aim consistently in your mind. Because what does happen, is that we can tend to forget. Sometimes we get a little bit careless, or sometimes a bit lazy, and then we just get a bit defocused. Because we live in the world where people are doing other things. You have to work with, you have to live with people whose values are different. So it takes quite a bit of focus to remind myself regularly. Three questions I find which just help to focus the mind. Number one, who am I? Number two, where am I going? Number three, why am I doing what I am doing? So who am I? Question of identity, and of course we know I am a soul, but even more than that, who am I? I am a deity soul. I am an ancestor soul. At this time, I am a child of God. At this time, I am a friend or a partner of God in creating a golden age, and really absorbing that, the answer to the question, who am I, really absorbing it in my intellect. So that's the basis. And then it leads to the second question, where am I going? Which means, if I continue to live my life as I currently am, where is this taking me? Where am I going? Where is my sense of direction in my life? The third question, why am I doing what I am doing? And this is the question of purpose. And I find this very, very useful for myself. When you feel a little bit, your thoughts are drifting, or you're not sure what to do, should I do, shouldn't I do? The question which helps me to get focused, what is my purpose here? Why am I doing this? What is the aim for me? Yeah? And as soon as you remember your purpose, again, you get focused, you start moving in the right direction. And purpose is something, only each soul can work out for themselves. Nobody else can tell you that. It's like, listening to your own inner voice. We used to ask, Dadi Janki, that Dadi, there were so many Dadis, how come you were the one who became the instrument for world service? And she said, I always felt, by it's part of my purpose, I wanted to share Baba's Gyan with everyone. So already inside there was this kind of drive that my purpose is this, to bring everyone to Baba, to share Baba's treasures with everyone. And so every single soul, but especially all of us Brahmin souls, we all have a very special purpose at this time in the cycle. And it doesn't happen that Baba is going to tell you what it is. Certainly my own experience was that I have to sit, listen to myself, understand my purpose. Just ask the question very sincerely, what's important to me? What is my purpose? And then just be open to listen to clues and signs and signals which may come, from different directions. But that's very, very important in focusing the mind. And when we're focused, then naturally we use everything in a worthwhile way. And the fifth thing, which I didn't touch upon yet, in terms of our resources, is our relationships. And so the people I come in contact with, whether it's Brahmins or it's work colleagues or it's friends or it's relatives, each relationship, let me invest in each relationship by showing regard. Baba had said once that if you show regard to every soul who you come into contact with, all the virtues will automatically come into you. And claiming the certificate of contentment, especially from others, for this, the main dharna we need is to show regard to others. Generally, it is said, give regard to the older ones and give love to the younger ones. Baba had said that's good, but Baba also said, consider everyone to be an older one and give regard to every soul. And then the relationships really become very harmonious. And for me, regard is two things. It is love and respect together. And if you think of this, what do human beings want from other human beings? Whether it's Brahmins or it's those who don't have Baba's Gyan, everybody wants love and respect, in one form or the other. That can be through your thoughts and your attitude. It can be in the words you speak, the tone in which you speak. It can be practical physical actions. But showing regard to others is what wins the heart of others. And those relationships, then become very strong. When others feel respected, valued, when others feel like, genuinely you have good wishes for them, then they become very close to you, very cooperative. And they become, even friends or partners in service in different ways. So whatever relationships we have, let us divinize them more. Let us make them more alokik. I'll just give one or two little examples, and I'll stop and see if you have anything to say. But I remember one story where, in the Sakar Baba's days, the Murli used to be posted out by mail to all the different centers in India. And so Baba once went to the room where the brothers were working. They were folding the Murlis, putting them in envelope, writing the address and sending them. And Baba saw the envelope, and Baba said, child, there should be something written on the envelope as well. Because this envelope will be seen by the postman. It will be seen by the people working in the post office. So why don't you print something on the envelope, so even the person who is working in the post office, if he sees it, he also will get some gyan. So they started printing, something like on godfatherly service and now or never, claim your birthright. Some slogan was there. So just think, how was Brahma Baba's intellect? He was saying there is an opportunity for other souls to be served, even for the postman to be served. And so Baba again, this quality of squeezing maximum benefit from every situation. And last little story about reducing the waste. I was reading this in the memoirs of Ramesh Bhai. As you know, he was a senior brother from Gamdevi Center. And he was sharing once how once he was driving somewhere with Brahma Baba and maybe one other person in the back. So they had to drive somewhere for something. I can't remember what the event was. So it was a long journey, and they had to stop. They stopped somewhere on the way in a nice place just to eat the food they had with them. So they had like a little meal, a little picnic. Then they continued on. And then when they were coming back the other way, it was maybe the day after or something, as they went past the picnic spot, so Ramesh Bhai was driving and Baba was sitting next to him. So he said to Baba, Baba, that's the place where we stopped yesterday, by the way, for the picnic. And Baba was silent. And Baba said, child, even this is waste. There is no need even to say that. Even that is waste. For such yogi souls, even that comes under the category of unnecessary, wasteful. So I was thinking, wow, just imagine, what was Baba's consciousness? That for us, something is ordinary, but for yogi souls, for super yogis like Baba, it's not ordinary, it's waste. So if we're really soul conscious and yogic, our standards become higher and higher. And therefore, the way we use everything goes on to another level of being worthwhile, using everything in a safal way. Okay, so let me stop there and see if you want to say anything, ask something,
Any
or
question?
otherwise we can finish.
Any question?
Marami biyasa.
Yeah, I couldn't hear anything.
No. Okay. And Kinnari?
Yes, Binduban.
અનમ્યુટ કરશે બહુ લાઉડ આવે છે.
There is a lot of noise. If I unmute all, a lot of noise is coming. So whoever wants to have a question, can they raise their hand?
No?
તો वो हाई करे सबको. હાલો કરે. કિન્નરી બધાને વિડિયો ઓન કરશે?
Sure.
Yes. Bridgebhai, Hinuben, Bridgebhai from Guangzhou. Yes, Hinuben. ये हिनुबेन का अनम्यूट कर. हिनुबेन और ब्रिजबैक का अनम्यूट कर. किन्नरी? किन्नरी. हाँ, ये हिनुबेन का. हाँ, यस. हिनुबेन. हिनुबेन बोलो.
Om Shanti Yogesh bhai. Yeah, I wanted to ask, you were saying that if we waste time, then time will not respect us. How, what do you, can you tell us in detail what you mean by that? That time will not respect us?
Yeah, so this is based on what, again, it was one of Adi Janki's sayings. She used to say, how come I am still alive? You know, when she was 90, 95, 100. Because many people would ask her, what is the secret of your long life? And she would say very clearly and very adamantly, it's because I never wasted time and I never wasted money. And so she used to say, you know, whenever there was any time, I always used it in a worthwhile way. And therefore, time is also respecting me. So I feel in our lives, it's like this, that, you know, if you use time well, then you will always have time for yourself, for the things which you really want to do in your life. But if you waste time, then you'll find there are times when you want to do something, but other things come and you find, I don't have any time. It's like circumstances overwhelm me and I don't have time for myself.
Which means I waste my life.
Yeah, basically, yeah, you know, it's everything is karmic. If you use time well, then you will have time to do the things you really want to. If you misuse time, circumstances will become such that you feel you don't have time for yourself.
Okay. Thank you, Yogesh bhai.
Okay, Sister Chen. Sister Chen.
Chen.
Chen, how are you?
Fine.
Kinnari.
Yes,
Unmute. Sister Chen,
yes.
tell me. Yes.
Yes.
Om Shanti.
Om
Sister.
Shanti. Om
Sister.
Shanti.
Yes. Thank you.
There's 60 souls online.
Yeah. Sisters and translate.
Yes, I'm translating now.
Yes.
Om Shanti Chen. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti, Yogesh Bhai.
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you. There's many souls on Beijing and Dalian, Harbin, Hangzhou. There's many souls from different city. Mudanjiang. There's more than 10 cities online. Listen to your class now.
Lots of love to everyone.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank
Dipu
you.
bhai, Prabhaben, Prabhaben,
Om Shanti.
Om Shanti. Where is Prabhaben?
I'm
Oh.
here, right on top of your picture.
Okay, okay. So Prabhaben, Om Shanti.
Prabha is a Golden Girls member, I think.
Ah, yes. Yes, golden angel.
Not really.
Yes.
Nice to
Yogesh Bhai. We have some of the golden girls here.
all the golden girls are there.
Yeah. Kalisa also here. Kalisa,
Yes, I'm here.
Om Shanti.
Om Shanti.
Om Shanti.
Yeah.
Yes. Margaret, Om Shanti.
Om Shanti. Om Shanti.
Maria. Hello, Om Shanti.
Om Shanti.
Om Shanti.
Maria.
Better mention your name.
Oh.
Yes, Maria, tell me.
Om Shanti.
Om Shanti.
Om Shanti.
योगेश भाई सबका दर्शन हो गया.
Thank you. Thank you.
दीपक
Yeah.
भाई,
Sister
दीपू
Maria.
भाई,
Sister Maria,
Dipu
Om
bhai,
Shanti.
hai?
This is Brish Bhai.
I'm in Jaipur. I'm
Okay.
stuck in Jaipur.
Wow.
Yes. दीपू भाई,
Yes.
योगेश
Yogesh
भाई,
bhai.
दीपू भाई,
Yeah.
दीपक भाई, किन्नरी ऑन कर, किन्नरी दीपक भाई, दीपक दासवानी. Yes. दीपू भाई
Okay.
बोलो.
Om Shanti.
Om Shanti. Ah, yes. Yes, I do remember. Goodbye.
David also here.
Yeah.
Can you see your face?
Anyone who wants to
My
speak,
picture,
they
huh?
can unmute themselves and talk. They can do
Okay.
themselves. They can unmute themselves and talk.
પોતાની જાતે કરી શકે.
યોગેશ ભાઈ બિંદુબેન હું કોબે જાપાન થી બોલો સંતોષબેન.
No,
Yo,
not Japan.
Then?
You are Chakravarti Raja.
Yogesh.
Japan, Bombay,
and
Hong Kong.
Hong Kong.
Yes.
Kowloon.
Yes. Kowloon.
David.
Yeah.
Also.
Yogesh
Philippines
bhai,
also.
you remember me in Kobe, Japan.
Kobe, yeah, Kobe. I was there last
Yes.
year.
Last
yeah.
year, yes, I was there also with you.
Yeah, I enjoyed very much. I enjoyed coming.
Yes,
Wonderful
yes.
time. Wonderful.
Thank you very much. Yes.
Om Shanti.
Om
Om Shanti myself.
Shanti.
I don't know how to make it bigger. That's the thing.
Thank you.
Om
Thank you.
Shanti.
Hindu.
Also, okay. Yogesh
Om
Bhai.
Shanti.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
Om Shanti.
Yogesh Bhai.
Anji.
Yogesh Bhai, please commentary 2 मिनट कराओ ना. 2-3 मिनट.
ठीक है. Okay. English commentary.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so everybody sit with the back straight if you can. Feet on the floor.
Okay, सबका म्यूट कर दे किन्नरी.
With one thought. First, I come to my elevated seat of self-respect.
किन्नरी म्यूट.
I come to my seat of self-respect at the center of the forehead. I remind myself whose child I am. And I take my mind directly to Shiv Baba, to the Supreme Soul. I, the soul, the point, with Shiv Baba, the Supreme Point, in the sweet silence home. I, the soul, I am next to the Supreme Soul, and in his company, I absorb his love, his power, his deep silence. This is the true friend of the soul. This is the one who knows me better than I know myself. This is the one who has been watching my story through time. This is the one who accepts me as I am. The one whose only desire is to uplift me, to give me back to myself, to restore my self-sovereignty. And when my mind is linked to Baba, the divinity within me comes up to the surface. The best in me is activated when I am in the company of the Supreme. Let me stay in this divine union, in this yoga, so I become the reflection of the Supreme. Om Shanti.
Shanti.
Okay, thank
Thank
you,
you.
Bindu-ben.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Yogesh
everyone.
bhai. Thank you, Praveen bhai, and thank you, our host Kinnari, Sister Kinnari. I want to give you one announcement. 24, and Yogesh bhai, 24th, 24th, evening 6:30 is India time, and 9 p.m. is Hong Kong time. Youth session, all youth session, BK, non-BK, all youth session. So I send you all information. Thank you, Yogesh Bhai.
Okay.
See you
Thank you.
soon, 24th evening.
Yeah. Okay.
Om Shanti.
Shanti.